Hello, this is Foreign Pictures, and today I'm going to show you how to create a dramatic theme on Photoshop CS5 that looks like the one I have on now. So let's begin. Firstly, you will need a texture. I got my texture on Google Images. I advise you to do the same. You can see I've got one of metal. It will be the best for you to use somewhere in the same color. So your first step will be to click the Create New Fill or Adjustment Layer button, which should be right below your layer. Here it is. Click it and then click Curves. A box like this should appear. Put your colors down to dark. Make sure you don't overdo it. It should look like this. Now click the Create New Fill or Adjustment Layer button again, but this time choose Hue and Saturation. Bring the second column down to -80 and leave it to be. After you have all of this done, it's time to use some brushes. For this tutorial I use specific brushes. If you want to use the same ones I used, you can download them in the description link below the video. They only weigh 7.2 megabytes, so they're not heavy. If you have this done, go to Brush and choose 1920 Texture Brush. Make sure your color is black and white. Create new layer and draw it twice. Now double click on the layer and add drop shadow. Set the angle to 120 and opacity to 100. Click OK. So the next step is to grab the brush but this time select the soft brush. Reduce the size to about 450 pixels. Open new layer and reduce the opacity to 30. When you have this done, draw at the edges of the picture like I'm doing right now. Finally we can add our image. I'm gonna use image of Eminem. To add the image, select it, press Ctrl C, go back to your main image and press Ctrl V. Press Ctrl T to move the image around. Place it to the dead center and apply. Now select your erase tool and choose Spiral 46 pixels. Then zoom in on your image and delete the edges of your image around like I'm doing right now. When you're finished deleting the edges of your image, it should look like my one. Double click on the layer and choose Drop Shadow and Inner Shadow. Drop Shadow should be at angle 120, opacity at 100. Increase the distance to 15 and the size to 25. Then Inner Shadow. Inner Shadow should be at angle 120 as well, opacity 100. Leave distance at 5 and size at 20. Click OK. Now create a new layer and drag it down to the bottom. Place it over the background. Now choose your brush and choose the brush that I've chosen here. Reduce the opacity of the layer to 30%. Now draw behind your image. Double click on the layer and change the blend mode from normal to overlay. Click OK. Okay, most of the tutorial is now finished. If you want to add a nicer effect, create a new layer and drag it up to the top. Now work with the brushes that you have downloaded today. Randomly place them around the image. If you have this done, your image should then look more dramatic like my one. To finish off, go back to your image layer and click on Image, Adjustments and Hue and Saturation again. Reduce the second column to about 25 and the last column to about 25 as well. Click OK. Create new layer, place it to the top, place it beneath the image layer. Choose the brush again. This time choose the brush number 825. Choose the color to be white. Place it on the image. Double click it. To make your image smaller and cut out the edges you don't need, choose the crop tool and crop around the main image. Right click it and press crop. Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe and comment, and if you want me to do any other tutorials, please send me a mail.